Hello, everybody. Tracy Miss JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives the military community a voice in the veteran space to share their stories of service, how they continue to make a difference in civilian life, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, and life. Today, I'm honored to speak with Najee Gassel, who is a Coast Guard milspouse and the AFI 2026 Coast Guard Spouse of the Year, has spent over 13 years navigating military life alongside her college sweetheart, raising two boys while balancing family and career. Rather than just adapting, Najee stepped up to lead. Inspired by a meeting at her husband's boot camp graduation, she now serves as a Baltimore area ombudsman, supporting 6 Coast Guard units. From guiding families through daunting PCS moves to building informal support networks, she ensures no military spouse feels isolated. Her passion for service extends seamlessly into her professional life. For nearly 7 years, Najee has worked with Blood Cancer United, formerly the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, as a fierce patient advocate. Recently, she beautifully intertwined her two worlds by co-founding a brand new employee resource group for veterans and military families, building a vital workplace community across all service branches. Having stood by friends enduring deployments and loved ones battling blood cancer, Najee has discovered a powerful intersection between health advocacy and the military community, turning her profound empathy into her ultimate superpower. Hello, Najee. Welcome to the podcast. And thank you so
Hi.
much. Hi. Thank you so much for your service and your husband's service to our country. And congratulations on being the 2026 Spouse of the Year for the Coast Guard.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited for our discussion today. But before we get started with all of that, I would love to know how you met your husband.
Sure. So we met at George Mason University back in 2012. We were freshmen, and it was the first week of school, first couple of days. We lived on the same floor because they had boys and girls lived on the same floor. We were on separate sides. And I had been knocking on doors trying to get people to sign a birthday card for our friend Amanda, who would go on to be one of our best friends still to this day. And I love birthdays, and she was the youngest one because she was just finally turning 18. So I was getting everyone to sign this birthday card for her, and I knocked on this door and nobody came to the door, and I heard noise coming from inside, and I was like, wow, these guys are jerks. They're not answering me. They're just ignoring me. So I started to walk away, and then someone opens the door, and there's a boy with the most beautiful blue eyes I've ever seen. And he signs a card. I honestly don't remember if his roommate even signed it or not. And then later, it was either later that day or another night soon after, I was hanging out in we had a little common space where you had to walk through to get to the stairs and the door to exit the building. So it was like kind of a pass-through area. And he was walking by, and I was hanging out with people, and I said, hey, want to come join us? Come hang out. He said, sure. And we started hanging out. And then about a month later, we went on our first actual date in Washington, D.C. It was a weird weekend where none of our friends were around when usually we all spent weekends together hanging out. So we went into D.C., and on the metro, I saw on his phone light up with a text from his sister, and it said, Grandma Myrna said you have a girlfriend. Is that true? And I saw it, and I said, do you have a girlfriend? And he said, I don't know. Are you my girlfriend? And I said, I guess so. And here we are, all these years later, and we've been together ever since.
I love that story. That's great. So I remember when we first chatted that joining the military was kind of something that happened after you two were together, and you kind of forged the journey together. I would love to hear just a little bit about that story.
Yeah, we did. So before we had met, when we were both seniors in high school trying to figure out college, he had wanted to attend the Coast Guard Academy. And then his, I guess, college advisor or counselor, someone at school said, "Hey, I know of this cool school on the East Coast, which I know you're interested in. They have criminology, which I know you want to do. They have a hockey team." He was a hockey player. "I think you should check it out. It's George Mason University, just outside DC." And I also had thought I was going somewhere else. So it was kind of fate, I think, that we both ended up there.
Right.
And so we went through all of college together. And then we both started working right after college, after we graduated. And I had known for a long time that Coast Guard was always kind of still in his path, and he studied criminology and homeland security, so it all made a lot of sense. So it really was a decision we got to make together, and kind of where
Wow.
we were at that point in our lives. I was doing a year of service with AmeriCorps, so it was a finite amount of time. So I knew that I would be done with that eventually and could go with him wherever and kind of carry on with my career. So yeah, we really made the decision together. He went in, and we've forged this whole journey truly together since day one.
Oh wow. That's I love that story. I don't know that I've heard that much, but that's incredible that you got to kind of do it together, make the decisions together, and it seems like you supported him, he supported you in your career. Um, what has military life been like for you?
Probably much like most people's stories, a lot of ups and downs. It was really tough when he left for boot camp because at that point we were newlyweds. I was working that job for AmeriCorps, and while it was incredibly meaningful, it also was extremely challenging. I was working insane hours and commuting a ton. I was just so exhausted, and having him leave and having to kind of be on my own at such a rough time for me was really challenging. But I actually wrote him a letter every single day that he was in boot camp. And would anxiously wait by the mailbox for the few that I got back. But I actually wasn't a stranger to this, anyways, because my brother is in the Marine Corps and he had just left for boot camp the previous summer. So, kind of a similar thing of just kind of waiting to hear back from a loved one. But after that, there was a lot of time apart, living apart. Since then, he's had jobs where he's been away for days at a time, standing duty, standing watch, kind of all of the insane last minute things that tend to pop up. We've dealt with the very last minute deployment where we had a couple of days notice. We've had kids in this time, so
Wow.
adding in that mix and moves and just life and family things. So truly a lot of ups and downs, but I'm so grateful that we have so strongly and steadfast been by each other's side through it all. There's nobody else I'd ever want to go through this with but him.
Mm. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. 2026 Coast Guard Spouse of the Year. Congratulations again. I would love to hear, and I also understand that you work for Blood Cancer United.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear what you hope to do with your platform.
Yeah. So it has kind of evolved as I've gone through this process with my platform. I think there are just so many things that I truly and deeply care about that at times it feels like, well, what do I do with all of this and which direction do I want to go? I've even felt that with kind of my career choices. But the Armed Forces Insurance Program has given me the opportunity to sort of sort through that and figure out where I want to go and how can I make the biggest impact. So number one has always been about welcoming in spouses to every unit we've been at. I mean, I have been to such a variety, even though we've only moved a few times, they have all been extremely different from each other. So sometimes it's really small and there aren't a lot of other spouses, and sometimes it's huge and you're like, I know they're out there, but how do I connect with them? And the Coast Guard is very small too.
Hmm.
So there is a lot of overlap, but also even though it's small, it can feel sort of overwhelming and big at times. So my just I guess job, not really, but unofficial job, my calling has always been to make sure that a new spouse or significant other, whomever it may be, feels welcome and like there is somebody here who they can come to, especially if they're younger and they're newer to this lifestyle and they don't know maybe what resources are available or how to cope with a deployment, or even your person being gone for a training or in e-school for weeks or months. All of that can be so much to deal with, especially alone. So I want to make sure that nobody feels alone. And that has been amazing from this program too, to really find other people who are doing that work. And then kind of what has evolved from my involvement in this is having the opportunity to meet not just other Coast Guard spouses who are doing amazing things for our community, but all the other branches. The other 6 branch winners in my class, we have become so close so fast. They are truly have already become my best friends and sisters. We talk every day. We get to go on trips and visits and things together, and hearing what they're doing and this relationship I built with them means that I get to elevate their platforms too. And that's something that I want to do for anyone. I'm very much a girl's girl. I want to uplift all the women, all the spouses. I am just so thankful to be able to meet these people and find and hear what they're passionate about and be able to say, well, hey, I have this connection. Maybe this would be great for you. And that's something I've also started to bring up into my conversations with the command around here. As a side thing, I'm also an ombudsman.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, that also plays a lot into this. And I just had a couple meetings yesterday with a few commands and got to say, hey, I want to know if there are spouses who are doing amazing things and who should I connect with, and how can I connect them to the right people and resources, and how can I elevate what they're doing? How can I be a resource to them? So it really has all crisscrossed a lot, among other things that I'm passionate about and interested in and working on, but those are kind of my top ones right now, I'd say.
Right, right. I love it. So you're on a mission to make sure that no spouse feels isolated or left behind. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's, the military life is difficult. The military spouse life. It's not easy. It's not always a walk in the park. So, your community is really what you have to rely on, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So as I started to say, is that you work with Blood Cancer United. You've been with them for, I think, 7 years,
Yes.
but you recently started a new program with them, which kind of has sort of married the military and what you're doing there all together in a nice little package.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. So I've been with Blood Cancer United for 7 years. I just hit my anniversary in May, which in and of itself is something I'm really proud of, but very lucky to have accomplished, given that I'm a military spouse and have been the entire time I've worked here, because it can be so challenging to find a job when you're moving around so
Sure.
often. You can be the most qualified person and still trying to find something that you can do while moving, or finding a new job every couple of years is so difficult. So I am very, very lucky that not only have they been flexible and accommodating, but there are people who have helped me find my next role while moving. And so I'm so grateful to them for that. So previously we did go through a rebrand in September. So people listening might know us as the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, or LLS. Now we are Blood Cancer United. And several years ago, they started an employee resource group program, so ERGs. And I immediately was like, yes, sign me up. Which ones can I join? And I was the most involved in the Young Emerging Professionals Support, or YEPS, we call it. And I was the co-lead at one point. They are 2-year terms for co-lead. So I did that for 2 years. And before that, I'd been in another leadership role with them. And I'm still super involved and sit on committees and such. And a group that I had been wanting was something for our military community, because while I have an amazing group of friends and my colleagues, and I work on an incredible team, when my husband deployed with 3 days notice, and we had a not even 2-year-old, and he was going to be gone for the entire month of December through all of the holidays and our travel, I was so terribly alone. We had just moved to where we are now, so I was still trying to make friends. Luckily, we're closest to family that we have been, but nobody right in my immediate vicinity. And my colleagues were, of course, sympathetic and, hey, what can we do? What do you need? But they truly didn't get it and how difficult that was. Having to solo parent, having to completely change your toddler's routine while working a brand new job. I was only a few months into this brand new role, so I kind of didn't know what I was doing and was still learning a lot. And that was the turning point for me where I said, we need a group here. I need a community within this work community that can truly support me and fully know what I'm going through when I can't always articulate that. So a couple years later, and I finally find out last fall. So that was in 2022. So here we are, fall of 2025. And here's the news. We are opening up a brand new ERG. It's for veterans and military families. And they have a call for co-leads. And so I fill out the interest form, but I say, look, I have been a co-lead before for an ERG. I don't have to do it again. I want somebody else to have the opportunity to lead, because this is an amazing opportunity for somebody to look for something different at work, to work on their leadership skills that they might not get in their day-to-day job, which is something that's very important to me. And so I said, I want to help in any way I can. It doesn't have to be as a co-lead, but like number one supporter, I'm ready. They ended up interviewing me for co-lead anyways, and I got it. And so I was very excited, and I made sure they knew, like, it can be somebody else. And there are 2 of us, so I have a co-lead. And so I take on this role. I'm so excited. I meet my co-lead, who was somebody I didn't know yet from the organization, which sometimes I feel like that's so crazy, because I feel like I know a lot of people around here from all of my time and all my work in this. So it was really exciting to meet her. And turns out she's also a Coast Guard spouse. I'm like, what are the odds that
right,
of the Coast Guard? We're the smallest branch, and the 2 of us are co-leading this together for the next 2 years. We're both Coast Guard spouses. That's insane.
Wow.
And we're also like, I wonder if our husbands have crossed paths at some point. While we don't think they have, what was funny is that we do have mutual friends within the Coast Guard and people that each person has worked with. And we're like, oh yeah, I know them. Yet again, how the Coast Guard is so small. So we launched this group in January of this year, in 2026. We have our first meeting after getting signups. We're like, okay, we're just trying to figure out what's what, get our bearings. What do we want from this group? And that first meeting, we said, just tell us your connection to the military community and what you want from this. And there were so many Coast Guard connected people. We have a couple Coast Guard veterans who are now working at Blood Cancer United. We have spouses. And then, of course, all the other branches too. We have military parents and siblings and family members, which is so cool. But it was just so wild that there was, and not even just so much Coast Guard affiliation, but so many of them are in the DMV area. And I had no idea, because they aren't a local staff team. They're a national role. So I had no clue. I'm like, I think we need to have an in-person meetup of all of us military people in the DMV. So it's that just getting started was so amazing. Where this has crossed paths with my new honor within AFI is that on our last meeting, we were talking about resources. We said, bring something that has helped you or that people might not know about, or something you feel like you are really knowledgeable about, and how can we share that with each other? And we're starting to build a resource library. And already there are so many things that I can add because of this work and having been connected to AFI. Actually, shameless plug, I did mention this podcast because we have a section for media. And I was like, guys, Tactical Treasures podcast, I'm going on it in a couple months.
Oh, wow.
There. So that true story. So very cool that all of these opportunities I've been given with this role, with earning Coast Guard Spouse of the Year, I've already been able to bring to my professional life and to work and say, here is my military community at work, and here are things that I can bring to the table, and here's how I can share and how I can make sure that you're getting what you need. And a lot of things we shared that day, each of us didn't know about already. So I learned a lot. I shared quite a few things. I'm like, wow, I'm so sorry I'm talking so much because I just have so many new things that I can share from even just my branch winners, my class of several of them have their own companies and businesses. And I'm like, and there's this and there's this. And it's just been so cool to see them mix like this when it was never planned. I never would have imagined this would have all crisscrossed in this way. And just the timing has been, I mean, it's not something you can plan. The timing just happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
Right, right. You spent years following a mission. You understand discipline, grit, and the power of a team. But what happens when the uniform comes off? For the veteran and the military family, the desire to serve doesn't just disappear. At JDog, we don't just offer a job, we offer a new mission. We provide a proven path for you and your family to own a business that operates on the values you live by: respect, integrity, and trust. Join a national brotherhood of veterans and military families who are reclaiming their futures and leading their communities. Your next chapter isn't just about a career, it's about building a legacy. To learn more, go to jdog.com. Networking is key. You never know what you don't know, right? Oh my gosh, I love it. And thank you so much for the plug about my podcast.
You're welcome.
I'd love to have any one of them on to get the word out. So this has been amazing. I have a couple questions left for you. One of the questions is, what have you learned so far from the 13 years of military spouse life?
Well, so we were dating for 4 of those. So I'm like, oh, we're at 9 something years married. We were almost to 10 before he gets out. That's okay. I just like even numbers. I would say that, as cliche as it sounds, it's a cliche for a reason, but communication is absolutely everything. Things are changing so quickly, sometimes often. Communication has to be the foundation of your relationship as a military spouse. I think my husband and I have gotten sort of to the point where at times we can almost we know what the other person's going to say. I remember so vividly when he came home when we were living in Florida, and he came home and he said, "Hey, I've got great news. I'm advancing." And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That was so fast." And I stopped and I looked right in his eyes and I said, "Oh, that means we're moving." Said, "Yeah." And I was like, okay. So I just knew what was coming next. I knew the look on his face. And I think that's just a testament to how much we've gone through in this lifestyle and all of our many years together as a couple. And it's something we're always still working on. Nobody's perfect at it. And even just yesterday I had to say, I think you could have communicated this a little bit better in asking me to do XYZ. And he goes, okay, yeah, I see how that didn't translate right. It was over something silly about printing something, but even the little things, it's a good reminder. And it's also how we deal with that, how we come out of, like, I'm annoyed because you didn't communicate this way. I'm going to express that, but in a mature way, and we're going to talk it out. And okay, yep, I see the error of my ways. I see how you perceive that. I know what I need to do better next time. And I think that's kind of the second layer to communication, and is something we're always working on, but is so important and just something we strive to improve every day.
Yeah, true. I love that. I think communication is key in everything, but I would say especially when you're living the military life, definitely knowledge is power. This leads to my very important question that I now have to ask you, because we are the Tactical Treasures podcast, Najee. So I what is your tactical treasure that you would like to share with us today? What has helped you along this journey in life?
Okay, so I have sort of two answers for this that come to mind. One is more on the funny side. I am somebody who leads with humor and like to find the fun in everything. And I was asked something kind of similar in an interview I did recently for something else. And it was about moving and building a home and that sort of thing. And I would say my tactile tactical treasure, if you will, is always pack the bath towels in your overnight bag, carry on bag when you are PCSing. The first move that we did, we had clothes, we had toiletries. I think we even remembered toilet paper to move into our next house. And I said, oh my God, we have no towels. All of the bath towels were packed up. And so from that experience, I said, we always pack the bath towels. And then I had a friend who was moving and she was like, okay, guys, I haven't moved in so long. What do I need to know? I said, girl, pack the bath towels. Put them in the overnight bag. She was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about the towels. I said, you're welcome.
I
Well,
love it. That's great.
Number two, on a more serious note, is you have to find your people. And I know that is so hard for some people. I am very extroverted. My family says I can make friends with a brick wall. I can talk to anybody. It's so true. And so I know and I acknowledge that it does not come easy for everyone. But even if it's showing up to a new unit and saying, hi, I'm so and so, I am this person's spouse. Are there any other spouses or significant others or family members that I can connect with? And maybe it's just to learn about the area or learn more about the unit. But I think it's so important to find, even if it's find one person that you can connect with. And it might not be in person. Maybe you go onto the Facebook pages. There are tons out there for units and areas and districts, and the ombudsman have them and AFI has them. Pick one, join it. If you're somebody who is more introverted and you want to kind of sit back and observe until you find somebody or something that resonates with you, that's cool too. But find your person or your people, because that is going to make this whole experience so much easier. For us, I got very lucky this time in that I met my best friend here in the Pasadena area through work. And we don't even work together anymore. She has a different job, but she ended up moving in the neighborhood across the street from me. And so we live 2 seconds away from each other. And she is my person. And meeting her has opened up, her friends circle too, and people that I've gotten to befriend. And then we've gotten so lucky where we live and that we've built a community with our neighbors. And that is not something we've had in any other place we've lived. And so every place looks different, but it's just finding those few people, because when my husband deployed that one time, and I had met her already, so we were friends now for a couple months, and she was the person who that day I had to take him to the airport. I came home and she showed up on my doorstep with breakfast and said, I'm working here today. What do you need? What can I do? We have a big call. I'm going to sit here next to you through it because I know you're not okay. And so I'm going to be here for you. And having that person can make just the biggest difference when you're new to an area. So find your person, find your people. When in doubt, reach out. That's what we say as ombudsman. Find your ombudsman. That's a great place to start.
Yeah.
I think other branches have something similar, family, life people, something or other. In the Coast Guard, it's ombudsman. Your branch probably has it, but reach out to that person and they can help you connect with whoever is around. But I'm somebody who really believes in the power of people, and find your people.
I love that. That is a great second treasure, and probably a very good segue into my last question for you. And my last question was going to be any advice for fellow male spouses struggling with the military life? And I know you've already chimed in with a beautiful tactical treasure that fits that question. But I would wonder if you have another little nugget to share.
Yes, I would say get involved in something. That has been the best way for me to get comfortable. Taking on the ombudsman role was something I had thought about for a long time, but it took me a long time to actually find one where I live. Some of our units didn't even have them. It wasn't until we moved here and I started meeting some of them just through events. And I'd say that's kind of the part two to it. My husband and I started going to other things. We've been to a couple Coast Guard balls, and that's where I actually met the first ombudsman I'd connected with. And it was just because we were sitting at the same table. And then she said, "Oh, well, I'm friends with the ombudsman in your area. Here's her. Like, come meet her." And we've been to like some CCTI dinners, and I've met people that way. And it's just putting yourself out there a little bit, attending things. Go to Coast Guard Day, go to your branches, whatever it is. There's probably morale events. I think getting out there, getting involved. Again, I know that is much harder for somebody who doesn't thrive in that setting and is more introverted. And that can be so tough when you are in a brand new place, meeting all new people. It can be very overwhelming. But that is my biggest advice, is just try it once. Go to something, find something that piques your interest. There are leadership programs, there are spouse programs. Again, things that I didn't necessarily knew existed until getting involved in the Spouse of the Year program. And that has really opened my eyes to all the possibilities. And for that, I'm very grateful. And it is kind of my mission to share that with everyone. So if anybody hears this and is like, okay, so this is what I need to do, go find your ombudsman, go find your family life person, look up the events in your area, look up morale, go to any of the resources that are available online and say, okay, I see there's a leadership institute. I see there's a spouses thing. There's a group for military spouse entrepreneurs. There are trainings and education grants, and there's just so much out there, but you have to be willing to find it or find somebody who can help point you in the right direction. So also, if anyone listens to this and they're like, I don't know where to start, come find me, that's fine, I'll help you. We might not be in the same branch, but that is okay. I'll point you in the right direction.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's spouse clubs too. I
Yes,
think in a lot of installations and stuff,
absolutely.
which you can join. And I've had a couple male spouses on that say have been very encouraging that that's kind of
Hmm.
a good place to start.
Absolutely,
Um,
yes.
so thank you for that. So, Najee, before you go, can you tell us where people can find and connect with you and where they can find out more information on the Blood Cancer United?
Absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn, and I have been getting more into LinkedIn. So I'm very active on there. So my full name on LinkedIn is Najeeba Gassel. Please feel free to connect with me. Maybe send me one of the private messages saying that you heard about me through this podcast. Um, but happy to connect on there. There are also Facebook groups. Specifically, I am a moderator for the Armed Forces Insurance Networking group. So that's one that you can join. And then I also moderate a Facebook group for the it's a Coast Guard group specifically, but since I'm an ombudsman, there's one for the East District, and I'm in that one as well. And then Blood Cancer United, please feel free to go on there for any resources for any kind of blood cancer. It's just bloodcancerunited.org. We have so much available on there. I know I didn't talk a ton about my work, but another area that I am super passionate about, and unfortunately, cancer touches almost everybody. And that's if somebody is diagnosed or knows somebody who is diagnosed, the first place to start is our website or our information resource center, which the phone number is on there, or you can reach out to me and I can get it to you. So, absolutely, there are resources for patients, for caregivers. We're involved in research and clinical trials. We have financial aid. We have fundraising events. I myself am a fundraiser. I work on our gala event in DC, our leukemia ball. So there's something for everyone. So whatever way you want to get involved, I'm sure we'll find the right fit for you.
That's great. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Najee, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for all that you do. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was an amazing opportunity and just so fun chatting with you. You're the best. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Take care and we'll talk soon. And again, thank you so much for taking the time today. And we'll be sure to get the word out about Blood Cancer United.
Thank you so much.
Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Tactical Treasures. We've just finished up an amazing conversation with Najee Gassel, Coast Guard Milspouse and the AFI 2026 Coast Guard Spouse of the Year. She currently works with Blood Cancer United, formerly the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It is an incredible organization on a mission to cure blood cancer and improve the quality of life of all patients and their families. Driven by the profound belief that everyone facing a blood cancer diagnosis deserves a longer, better life, they work tirelessly to turn that vision into a reality. They achieve this by acting as a leading source of free information and support services, serving as a powerful voice for equitable access to quality, affordable, coordinated care, and investing more than $2 billion in groundbreaking global research to help patients not only survive, but truly thrive. What makes Blood Cancer United's work even more remarkable is its massive ripple effect. The revolutionary treatments discovered through their funding are actively helping to advance care for other types of cancers and diseases, extending a life-saving impact far beyond blood cancer alone. If you or a loved one needs support, or if you want to join their vital mission to help patients live longer, better lives, please visit their website at bloodcancerunited.org. Again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget you can find Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, on our website, tacticaltreasurespodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. As an official radio partner, Tactical Treasures is airing on Reese Cross America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for the encore. You can also find Reese Cross America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. JDog is honored to be an official Reese Cross America sponsorship group. When you sponsor a $17 Veterans Wreath through our group, $5 goes straight to the JDog Foundation to help heal our heroes. Your contribution directly supports our mission to prevent veteran suicide and provide lasting mental health and PTS resources. You can donate right now at reaseacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.